Panic takes over after the United States displays secret military technology in the Pacific and shows that peace through strength has moved from rhetoric to real demonstration.
The B-2 Spirit, also known as the stealth bomber, is one of the most advanced and iconic aircraft ever built. It was developed by Northrop Grumman for the United States Air Force and is designed for stealth, long-range precision bombing, and nuclear capability.
On June 29, Pacific Air Forces announced that the stealth bomber conducted a live-fire sinking exercise north of the Mariana Islands, launching the missile at a maritime target. The information shook things up because the B-2 has always been regarded as a symbol of stealth penetration, but now it also appears as a long-range naval strike platform. At the same time, the United States Air Force has moved forward with plans for a new long-range weapon, with variants for both air and surface targets, designed for high-pressure scenarios against Chinese forces in the Indo-Pacific. This is happening while China is expanding its aircraft carrier fleet, advancing in the Pacific, and testing the response of American allies like Japan and the Philippines. What was revealed? Why did Beijing feel the pressure? How does this technology change the calculus in the Pacific? I'll tell you all about it in a moment. If you like this kind of straightforward and no-nonsense content, consider subscribing because we have videos like this every day. The United States conducted the demonstration during Valiant Shield 2026, a military exercise held in the Pacific with American and Allied forces. The point that raised the alarm was the combination of stealth and maritime attack. The B-2 Spirit, used for decades as a strategic bomber, launched the LRASM, a long-range missile aimed at threats at sea. The US Air Force itself stated that this type of action increases the ability to hit strategic targets within the range of potential threats. In simple terms, Washington showed that it can use a hard-to-detect aircraft to put pressure on enemy ships. The announcement came at a sensitive moment. China has been putting more ships at sea, increasing its presence in disputed areas, and trying to show that it can push its influence beyond its own coast. In June, Reuters reported that the Chinese aircraft carrier Liaoning and other ships were seen in exercises in the Pacific, east of the Philippines, between May 26 and 28. According to the Japanese government, aircraft and helicopters from the Chinese naval group made about 170 landings and takeoffs, coming within about 590 kilometers of Miyako-Miyakojima in Japan. Israel also became central to this new phase of air defense by successfully testing a modernized version of the Iron Dome and integrating a high-power laser into the system's command network in advanced tests. The technology, developed with the support of the Israeli Ministry of Defense, Rafael, and industry partners, appears as an extra layer to counter rockets, drones, and other aerial threats with a lower cost per interception. That's where the message becomes serious for terrorist groups and hostile regimes. Israel is not just reinforcing what already works, it's preparing a faster, cheaper, and harder to saturate defense against large-scale attacks. Military pressure also appeared on the other side of the Atlantic during NATO exercises off the coast of North Carolina in the United States. The warning, picked up on the radio with a voice from the American South telling the warship to leave those waters, happened while Norwegian Lieutenant Thomas Johansen was preparing his sailors for a simulated boarding. With several maneuvers happening at the same time, the crew heard conversations from another nearby vessel, adjusted the frequency, and continued the operation.
The Commodore's visits are always bad. So the Commodore's visit is a pain.
Motor ship Valdero, this is Coalition Warship Fox Foxtrot 310, operating in support of United Nations Security Council Resolution 110, sir. I request your cooperation in our...
Next question. So today what we have done is conduct a maritime interdiction operations exercise. What does that really mean? That means we sent a boarding team from this ship, the Norwegian ship Frida Nansen, to a target ship as part of the exercise.
The agro cargo is general cargo, prepaid freight, shipped in boxes.
We perform our standard greeting and try to find out who these people are, where they are going now, and where they originally came from. Please let me know if there are any animals on board. Over.
Now we really had a goat. We had a goat, but we ate goats, so now there are no more goats, no more animals. Oh.
Is any weapon being transported on board the vessel, and what is its location? Over.
Look, no, we don't have any weapons. We are a peaceful cargo ship.
My intention is to exercise the right to send an inspection team to examine your manifest and cargo and to conduct a search of your vessel in accordance with international law and United Nations Security Council Resolution 110.
The American response did not appear only at sea. The Air Force also paved the way for the Air Force Long-Range Weapon, a new family of long-range weapons. Specialized reports stated that the project seeks a minimum range of 1,000 nautical miles with versions aimed at both air and surface targets. The idea is simple to understand. The Pentagon wants to extend the operating range of American forces in a scenario where China is trying to deny access to the Pacific, protect its ships, and pressure Taiwan. It's not just about having a new weapon, it's about building an advantage so the Chinese regime can't be the only one to choose the place, time, and pace of a crisis. The shock in Beijing comes precisely from that message. When the United States displays the B-2 with LRASM and moves forward on an ultra-long-range weapon, they're telling the Chinese Communist Party that China's naval expansion will not go unanswered. The Chinese regime is heavily investing in ships, fighter jets, missiles, and presence around Taiwan. Washington is now revealing a response framework based on stealth, range, and integration between the Air Force and the Navy. It's a deterrence response, not an invitation to war. The more Beijing tries to intimidate the region, the more the United States shows that it still has cards up its sleeve. Japan is also part of this equation because it is on the front line of regional tension. On June 17, the Japanese General Staff reported that Japanese fighter jets were scrambled after Chinese aircraft were detected over the East China Sea on June 12 Tao. This shows that the environment around Japan, Taiwan, and the Philippines is becoming more tense. Chinese pressure is not just naval. It also involves flights, drones, patrols, and response drills involving allies like Japan, the Philippines, Australia, and Taiwan. This message matters. It shows that the United States is not just talking about regional security. They are repositioning capabilities, testing integration, and preparing responses for scenarios of Chinese pressure. Washington knows that in the Pacific, war begins long before the first shot is fired. It begins with the perception of strength, the confidence of allies, and the fear of the price the adversary starts to factor in. When the adversary understands that moving forward could be costly, deterrence works. China tries to present itself to the world as an inevitable power, but the American demonstration cuts through that narrative. The Chinese regime can build aircraft carriers, increase patrols, and push its ships farther away. But the military technology of the United States continues to impose limits. The B-2 with LRSM demonstrates pressure on maritime targets. The new long-range project shows that Washington wants to strike threats from afar. The Japanese reactions show that the Allies are not asleep in the face of China's moves. The sum of all this changes the mood. Beijing is applying pressure, but now sees the response growing. War in the Pacific would be serious, costly, and dangerous, but weakness also comes at a price. When an authoritarian power senses hesitation on the other side, it advances. When it senses preparedness, it recalculates. The United States is preparing to prevent China from controlling the pace of the crisis. Thank you very much for watching this video until the end. Support our project and contribute financially using the Pix key shown on your screen. We are an independent channel committed to bringing you the truth. Your contribution helps us keep going.